Hi, I'm Peter J. Ray. Welcome to Adventures in History. Today's topic is the 1934 Cleveland Red Sox Negro National League II baseball season. The Red Sox were Cleveland's ninth Negro League team following the Tate Stars, Browns, Elites, Hornets, Tigers, Cubs, Stars, and Giants. And they played home games in Cleveland at League Park. They shared League Park with the Cleveland Indians. The Cleveland Red Sox had a tough year in 1934. They finished with a record of 3-22 in league play. Winning percentage of 120. 19 and a half games out of first place. The first place team was the Philadelphia Stars, who were 36-18-2. Winning percentage of .667. Second place, the Pittsburgh Crawfords were 47-27-3. Third place, the Chicago American Giants, 28-20-3. Fourth place, the Newark Dodgers, 18-13-1. Fifth place, the Nashville Elite Giants, 18-28-1. Sixth place, the Baltimore Black Sox, 3-8-2. Seventh place, the Philadelphia Bacharach Giants, 4-21. And in eighth and last place, the Cleveland Red Sox, 3-22. Now, after the season, there was a lot of barnstorming. Dizzy Dean of the St. Louis Cardinals, who had just won the World Series. He had an all-star team, and he was barnstorming. And he played a game against Satchel Paige's all-star team at League Park in Cleveland. And Satchel Paige defeated Dizzy Dean in that game 4-1. After the game, Dean told Josh Gibson, the star catcher, that if Satchel Paige were on the Orioles, quote, we'd win the pennant by July 4th and go fishing the rest of the season. The Cleveland Red Sox were the first black pro baseball team to share League Park with the Cleveland Indians. There was a July game, the Pittsburgh Crawfords against the Chicago American Giants at League Park, and 8,000 fans came. Really good turnout. The second annual East-West All-Star game was played at Comiskey Park in Chicago, and 25,000 fans came. Big excitement. Satchel Paige pitched the last 4 innings and helped the East win that game. Very exciting. Marvin McCarthy, a sports writer for the Chicago Times, wrote, quote, Satchel Paige stoops to toy with the rosin bag, picks up the old apple. He mounts the bag, faces third, turns a sorrowful but burning eye toward the plate, nods a nod that Adolf Hitler would give his eye for, turns his gaze back to the runner on second, raises 2 bony arms high toward heaven, lets them sink slowly to his chest. Seconds pass like hours. The batter fidgets in his box. Suddenly that long right arm shoots back and forward like the piston on a Century engine doing 90. All you can see is something like a thin line of pipe smoke. There's an explosion like a gunshot in the catcher's glove. Strike! Howls the dusky umpire. Thereafter, the great Satchel had him striking out like a labor union leader. The long, lean, lanky Satchel Paige is truly the black Christy Mathewson. After the 1934 season, the Cleveland Red Sox folded, and there was no Negro League baseball team in Cleveland until 1939, so a 5-year gap. There was a July 4th double game, the Pittsburgh Crawfords and Satchel Paige against the Homestead Grays. And the Craws won 4-0. Satchel Paige had 17 strikeouts and a no-hitter on July 4th. Wow. Tied Dizzy Dean's MLB record of 17 strikeouts in a game. Satchel Paige and Josh Gibson often would appear in exhibition games. Placards promoting the games would indicate that Paige would guarantee to strike out the first 9 hitters and Gibson to hit 3 home runs. 1934, Philadelphia finally had legal baseball on Sundays. This was a big help to the MLB teams there and the Negro Leagues as well, because Philadelphia is a very big market. And night baseball was increasingly available in 1934 in the Negro Leagues. I'm reading another fine book. The title is It's Good to Be Alive by Roy Campanella, 1959. Campanella played 10 years in the Negro Leagues and 10 years in the Major Leagues. In 1950, Tragically, he was in a very bad car accident at age 36 and paralyzed from the chest down. He was a quadriplegic and in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. Never played again. Campanella said this, quote, "I'm having a wonderful second life. I want to tell everyone about it. I want them to remember that when trouble comes, it isn't always bad. Take it with a smile. Do the best you can, and the good Lord will help you out." What an inspiration. Now, for the 1934 Red Sox, the owners were Prentice Bird and Dr. E.L. Langram. The business manager was Lem Williams, who was a Negro National League umpire in 1923, and he had a playing career for the Cuban Giants, Philadelphia Giants, and Brooklyn All-Stars between 1907 and 1914. Williams was born in 1879 in Geneva, Ohio. Lem Williams. Now, the manager for the Red Sox in 1934 was Bobby Williams. He also batted once, did not have a hit in one game. Williams had played for the Cleveland Tigers in 1928, the Cleveland Giants in 1933, and the Cleveland Red Sox in 1934. And this was the end of his Negro League baseball career. Bobby Williams. Now, the starting lineup, Dennis Gilchrist was the catcher. He was also called Gilchrist, or known as Gilchrist. Gilchrist batted .205 with 15 hits. He scored 8 runs, had 2 doubles, a triple, 9 RBIs, 3 walks in 22 games. Gilchrist, in his career, was a catcher, second baseman, shortstop, third baseman, and outfield. He played for the Indianapolis ABCs, Columbus Bluebirds, Cleveland Red Sox, Homestead Grays, and Brooklyn Eagles between 1931 and 1935. As a catcher infielder, he was an all-purpose player. Gilchrist was born in 1909 in High Point, North Carolina. For his career, he batted .269 with 54 hits. He scored 33 runs, 7 doubles, 2 triples, 26 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, 19 walks in 64 recorded games. Dennis Gilchrist. George McAllister was the first baseman. McAllister batted .159 with 11 hits. He scored 6 runs, had a double, an RBI, a stolen base, and 12 walks in 21 games. In his career, he played first base and outfield. McAllister played for the Birmingham Black Barons, the Indianapolis ABCs, Detroit Stars, Memphis Red Sox, Chicago American Giants, the Cuban Stars, the Homestead Grays, and the Cleveland Red Sox between 1923 and 1934. So this was the end of his Negro League baseball career. McAllister was a speedy first baseman with lots of pep and very smooth a field. For the 34 Red Sox, he batted second. McAllister was born in 1898 and died in 1990 in Birmingham, Alabama at age 91. For his career, he batted .246 with 264 hits, 149 runs, 23 doubles, 14 triples, 6 home runs, 104 RBIs, 12 stolen bases, 92 walks in 281 games. A fine career for George McAllister. Pat Patterson was second base. His given name was Andrew L. Patterson batted .333 with 25 hits. He scored 9 runs, had 4 doubles, a triple, a home run, 16 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, 5 walks in 21 games. In his career, he played third base, second base, shortstop, and outfield. Patterson played for the Philadelphia Redcaps, the Cleveland Red Sox, the Homestead Grays, Pittsburgh Crawfords, Kansas City Monarchs, Philadelphia Stars. In the Mexican League for Mexico City, he also had 3 years of military service in the Second World War. Also played for the Newark Eagles and Houston Eagles between 1934 and 1949. Patterson was a switch hitter, a good contact hitter. With moderate power, he could bunt and execute the hit and run. He had good speed on the bases and was a fine fielder. He had a little extra hustle, was a smart, versatile player, one of the best third basemen in the late 1930s and early 1940s in the Negro Leagues. He was the regular second baseman for the Pittsburgh Crawfords in 1935, considered one of the best Negro League teams of all time. He had .346 and helped win a title in 1946 with the Newark Eagles. He played in 4 East-West All-Star games. In the Dominican Republic, he played for Águilas Cibaeñas in 1938 and 1939 and hit .349 and .404 there. Mexico City, he also played in Mexico City in 1940. He went to Wiley College and played on the baseball and football teams. After he retired, he became a teacher, coach, athletic director, and superintendent of schools for Houston, Texas. Holy cow, wow, wonderful. Patterson was born in 1911 in East Chicago, Illinois, and died in 1984 in Houston, Texas at age 72. For his career, he batted .328, wow, 418 hits, 256 runs, 72 doubles, 28 triples, 28 home runs, 232 RBIs, 23 stolen bases, 95 walks in 328 games. What a life and career for Pat Patterson. Bobby Robinson played third base. Robinson batted 8 times, did not have a hit, and walked once in 3 games. Robinson, those must be very incomplete statistics. Robinson played for the Cleveland Elites in 1926, the Cleveland Stars in 1932, the Cleveland Giants in 1933, and the Cleveland Red Sox in 1934. This was the end of his time in Cleveland. His Negro League baseball career continued until 1942. Bobby Robinson. Anthony Cooper played shortstop. Cooper batted .077 with 4 hits and 52 at-bats. He scored 2 runs, had 3 RBIs, a stolen base, a walk in 15 games. And Cooper played for the Cleveland Stars in 1932 and the Cleveland Red Sox in 1934. So this was the end of his time in Cleveland. His Negro League baseball career continued until 1941. Anthony Cooper. Leroy Taylor was in left field. Taylor batted .342, wow, 25 hits, he scored 17 runs, 3 doubles, 2 triples, 5 RBIs, 4 walks in 20 games. In his career, he played right field, left field, center field, and first base. Taylor played for the Chicago American Giants, the Indianapolis ABCs, Kansas City Monarchs, Homestead Grays, Detroit Wolves, Detroit Stars, and Cleveland Red Sox between 1925 and 1934. So this was the end of his Negro League baseball career. He had good speed, was adept at stealing bases, and a skillful bunter with a strong arm. In 1929, he hit .355 and helped the Kansas City Monarchs win the title. He was born in 1902 in Marshall, Texas, and died in 1968 in Los Angeles, California, at age 65. For his career, Taylor batted .309 with 190 hits. He scored 108 runs, had 20 doubles, 7 triples, 2 home runs, 72 RBIs, 22 stolen bases, 34 walks, in 166 games. Leroy Taylor. Reuben Jones was in center field. Jones batted .261 with 18 hits. Scored 5 runs, had 3 doubles, 7 RBIs, 4 walks in 18 games. Jones played left field, right field, and was a manager in his career. He played for the Dallas Giants, Birmingham Black Barons, Indianapolis ABCs, Memphis Red Sox, Chicago American Giants, Little Rock Black Travelers, Cleveland Red Sox, Houston Eagles, between 1918 and 1949. Wow, 31 years. Jones had good power. He was a good fielder. For the Birmingham Black Barons, he was a player-manager in 1927. 1934 with Cleveland, he was the leadoff hitter. He was the manager of the Houston Eagles in 1949. For his career, Jones batted .281 with 206 hits, 92 runs, 28 doubles, 11 triples, 5 home runs, 98 RBIs, 17 stolen bases, 33 walks in 209 games. Reuben Jones. Wilson Reedus was in right field. They called him Frog. Reedus batted .265 with 13 hits. He scored 5 runs, had a double, 5 RBIs, a stolen base, 6 walks in 14 games. Reedus played for the Cleveland Browns in 1924, the Cleveland Stars in 1932, Cleveland Giants in 1933, and the Cleveland Red Sox in 1934. This was the end of his time in Cleveland. His Negro League baseball career continued until 1940, and the question remains unanswered. Was he related to Gary Reedus, the fine Cincinnati Reds player from the 1980s? Wilson Reedus. Jelly Jackson played some. Now, the bench players included Jelly Jackson, who played shortstop. His given name was Norman. They called him Jelly. He batted .286 with 12 hits. He scored 3 runs, had 2 doubles, 4 RBIs, a stolen base, 2 walks in 12 games. During his career, Jackson played shortstop and second base. Played for the Cleveland Red Sox, Homestead Grays, and Washington Elite Giants between 1934 and to 1945. So he was a rookie in 1934. He was a hustling infielder and won 4 titles with the Homestead Grays between 1937 and 1940. Wonderful. He usually batted 8th in the order. Jackson had speed and was a fine defensive player, fast base runner, very skillful stealing bases. Was fine on defense with a good arm. In the Second World War, he worked in a defense plant. He was a native of Washington, D.C., and popular when the Grays played at Griffith Stadium, when they became the Washington Grays. Jackson was born in 1909 in Washington, D.C., and died in 1980, again in Washington at age 70. For his career, he batted .195 with 207 hits. He scored 154 runs, 22 doubles, 11 triples, 2 home runs, 101 RBIs, 11 stolen bases, 94 walks in 344 games. What a career for Jelly Jackson. Emil Brooks was a spare catcher. Brooks batted .189 with 7 hits. He scored a run, had a double, a triple, a home run, 5 RBIs, 2 walks in 12 games. He was also called Emil and Macon. He was a catcher and an outfielder. Brooks played for the Chicago American Giants, Coles American Giants, Columbus Bluebirds, Homestead Grays, New York Black Yankees, the Cuban Stars, the New York Cubans, Ethiopian Clowns, Cincinnati Clowns, Newark Eagles, and the Brooklyn Royal Giants. Between 1929 and 1947, Brooks had a highly competitive spirit. He was a solid catcher and a dangerous hitter. He also played in Venezuela and Puerto Rico in 1937. He was in Cuba training with the New York Black Yankees. Brooks was born in 1904 in New Orleans, Louisiana, and died in 1971 in the Bronx, New York, at age 67. For his career, he batted .257 with 156 hits, 103 runs scored, 27 doubles, 10 triples, 14 home runs, 100 RBIs, 10 stolen bases, 66 walks, and 191 games. Emil Brooks. Saul Davis played some second base. He batted .273 with 6 hits. He scored 3 runs, had 3 RBIs in 5 games. Davis played for the Cleveland Tigers in 1928 and the Cleveland Red Sox in 1934. So this was the end of his time in Cleveland. His Negro League baseball career continued until 1937. Saul Davis. Now, Script Lee played some right field and was a pitcher. Lee batted .083 with 1 hit and 12 at-bats in 4 games. As a pitcher, he was 0-2 with an ERA of 3.12. 2 games, which were both starts and complete games, 17 and a third innings pitched, and 4 strikeouts. His given name was Holsey Scranton Scriptus. They called him Scrip or Script. He's a pitcher, first baseman, outfielder, and umpire in his career. Lee played for the Norfolk Stars, Baltimore Black Sox, Hilldale Daisies, Richmond Giants, Atlantic City Bacharach Giants, the Philadelphia Giants, the Cleveland Red Sox, and the Philadelphia Stars between 1922 and 1934. Lee was a submarine pitcher. He won titles with the Hilldale Daisies in the Eastern Colored League between 1923 and 1925. He had a wide assortment of pitches, including a curve, drop, screwball, knuckler, fastball, and changeup. In 1929, he won a title with the Baltimore Black Sox and was 27-4. As a youngster, he played baseball with broomsticks in a vacant lot. He went to school with Duke Ellington. Wow. He was good in football and once drop-kicked a football 100 yards. Gosh. In 1916, he was in the National Guard with General John Pershing, and they saw action at the Mexican border against Pancho Villa and his Mexican rebels. The First World War, he was in the 372nd Infantry and won 2 battle stars and a Purple Heart. He was an outstanding bunter and excelled at the squeeze play. He also worked as a taxi driver and worked at the VA in Washington, D.C. for 31 years. Lee was born in 1899 in Washington, D.C., and died in 1974 in Washington at age 75. For his career as a pitcher, he was 34-36 with an ERA of 4.67, 106 games, 77 starts, 47 complete games, 2 shutouts, 2 saves, 641 and a third innings pitched, and 248 strikeouts. Lee, for his career, batted .222 with 70 hits. He scored 32 runs, 6 doubles, a home run, 36 RBIs, 44 stolen bases, 23 walks in 139 games. What a career for Script Lee. George Dixon was a spare catcher. Dixon batted .200 with 2 hits and 10 at-bats. Scored a run, had a triple in 3 games. Dixon played for the Cleveland Elites in 1926, the Cleveland Hornets in 1927, the Cleveland Tigers in 1928, the Cleveland Cubs in 1931, and the Cleveland Red Sox in 1934. And this was the end of his Negro League baseball career. George Dixon. John Henry Russell played some second base. They called him Pistol. He batted 7 times, did not have a hit in 2 games. During his career, Russell played second base, third base, shortstop, and first base. Russell played for the Memphis Red Sox, St. Louis Stars, Indianapolis ABCs, Pittsburgh Crawfords, Detroit Wolves, and Cleveland Red Sox between 1923 and 1934. Russell was a standout glove man with the St. Louis Stars, had excellent range, a good arm, was a superb pivot man, and excelled at the double play. He won Negro League pennants in 1928 and 1930 with the St. Louis Stars. Russell was a flashy infielder. He played on the 1933 East-West All-Star game. In 1932 with the Detroit Wolves, he played with Cool Papa Bell and led the team led the East-West League when the league folded. Russell was born in 1898 in Dulcito, Alabama, and died in 1972 in Cleveland, Ohio, at age 74. For his career, he batted .266 with 360 hits. He scored 169 runs, 43 doubles, 25 triples, 2 home runs, 166 RBIs, 14 stolen bases, 92 walks in 365 games. John Henry Russell. Clarence Griffin played some left field. He batted .143 with 1 hit and 7 at-bats. Scored a run, had an RBI in 4 games. He was an outfielder for his career. Griffin played for the Columbus Bluebirds, Cleveland Red Sox, Brooklyn Eagles between 1933 and 1935. In 1933, he hit .346, and in 1935, .056, with incomplete statistics. Griffin was born in 1911 in Columbus, Ohio, and died in 1991 in Columbus at age 79. For his career, he hit .298 with 50 hits. Scored 26 runs, had 8 doubles, 4 home runs, 23 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, 22 walks in 56 games. Clarence Griffin. Clarence Lewis played some second base. Lewis batted 7 times, did not have a hit in 2 games. Lewis played for the Cleveland Giants in 1933 and the Cleveland Red Sox in 1934, and this was the end of his Negro League baseball career. Clarence Lewis. Charlie Hughes played some second base. Hughes batted .167 with 1 hit and 6 at-bats. In 2 games, Hughes played second base and shortstop during his career. He played for the Pittsburgh Crawfords, Columbus Bluebirds, Homestead Grays, Cleveland Red Sox, and Washington Black Senators between 1931 and 1938. He was a light-hitting second baseman, one of three players from the original semi-pro Pittsburgh Crawfords who were still on the team on June 20th, 1931, when Satchel Paige won his first game ever for the Crawfords against the Homestead Grays in a very dramatic game in Pittsburgh. Hughes was born in 1906 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and died in 1981 in Pittsburgh at age 74. For his career, he batted .161 with 14 hits. He scored a run, had a triple, 7 RBIs, a stolen base, 4 walks in 27 games, with very incomplete statistics. Charlie Hughes. Bobby Williams played some second base. Williams batted .167 with 1 hit and 6 at-bats in 2 games. Williams played for the Cleveland Tigers in 1928, the Cleveland Giants in 1933, and the Cleveland Red Sox in 1934. This was the end of his Negro League baseball career. Bobby Williams. Now, the pitching staff, Bill Bird was the ace pitcher. They called him Daddy. His record was 2-8 in 11. He pitched 11 games, had 9 starts, 5 complete games, 58 and 2/3 innings pitched, and 24 strikeouts, and an ERA of 6.90. Bird batted .326 with 14 hits. He scored 6 runs, 4 doubles, a triple, 5 RBIs, a stolen base, 7 walks in 17 games. Bird was a pitcher, first baseman, outfielder. He played for the Columbus Turfs, the Columbus Bluebirds, Nashville Elite Giants, Cleveland Red Sox, Homestead Grays, Columbus Elite Giants, Washington Elite Giants, Baltimore Elite Giants, in Venezuela for Caracas between 1932 and 1950. He was one of the last pitchers to throw a legal spitball. He had unflinching dominance. He was a workhorse with lots of stamina. He once pitched and won both games of a doubleheader. Bird was responsible and caring, a father figure to younger teammates, including Roy Campanella, who called him Daddy. Between 1932 and 1949, he led in league games. He had a winning percentage of .600. 1936, Bird was 20-7. He pitched in the East-West All-Star Game in 1936, 1939, 1941, and 1944, and 1945, and 1946. Wow, tremendous. He learned to hit as a boy by hitting rocks with tree branches on his family farm in Canton, Georgia. Bird was a good hitter. He hit 318, 304, and 344 3 years. He was also a slow base runner. In Puerto Rico, they called him El Maestro. He had pitching duels with Leon Day. He also pitched in Venezuela and Puerto Rico. It was Josh Gibson. Josh Gibson was his catcher. After he retired, he worked for General Electric in Philadelphia for 20 years. Bird was born in 1907 in Canton, Georgia, and died in 1991 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, at age 83. For his career, he won 105 games, lost 70, an ERA of 3.30 in 216 games, 157 starts, 114 complete games, 9 shutouts, 3 saves, 1,380 and a third innings pitched, and 711 strikeouts. As a hitter, Bird batted .259 with 203 hits, scored 113 runs, had 31 doubles, 9 triples, 15 home runs, 121 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, 74 walks in 339 games. What an incredible career for Bill Bird. Johnny Bob Dixon was 0-3 with an ERA of 5.17. 7 games, 4 starts, 2 complete games, 38 and a third innings pitched, and 12 strikeouts. Dixon batted .143 with 2 hits and 14 at-bats. He had a walk in 8 games. Dixon played for the Cleveland Tigers in 1928, the Cleveland Giants in 1933, and the Cleveland Red Sox in 1934, and this was the end of his Negro League baseball career. Johnny Bob Dixon. Sleeky Reese was 0-1 with an ERA of 12.46. 3 games, 1 start, 8 2/3 innings pitched, and 4 strikeouts. Reese batted .200 with 1 hit and 5 at-bats in 4 games. They called him Big Jim, Slim, and Lefty. Reese played for the Cleveland Red Sox, Newark Eagles, Atlanta Black Crackers, Indianapolis ABCs, and Baltimore Elite Giants between 1934 and 1940. He went to Morris Brown College and became a high school teacher and school principal after his Negro League baseball career. For his career, he was 0-1 with an ERA of 11.57, 6 games, 2 starts, 11 2/3 innings pitched, 5 strikeouts. He also batted .167, 1 hit and 6 at-bats, and these are obviously very incomplete statistics. Sleeky Reese. Willie Powell was 0-1 with an ERA of 23.14, 2 games, a start, 4 2/3 innings pitched, and 1 strikeout. Powell batted .600 with 3 hits and 5 at-bats. He scored a run in 3 games. His given name was Ernest. They called him Piggy, Pigmeat, Pee-wee, Wee Ernest, Wee and Willie. He was a pitcher and an outfielder. Powell played for the Chicago Giants, Chicago American Giants, Detroit Stars, Coles American Giants, Akron Pirates, and Cleveland Red Sox between 1925 and 1935. He won 2 titles in 1926 and 1927 with the Chicago American Giants. He threw a no-hitter in 1927, and in 1928 he was 19-3, really good. After one season, he had a horrific misfortune. He was shot in the face by his father-in-law in a hunting accident. 1932, he won a title with the Coles American Giants. He played in an exhibition game, which he won against Babe Ruth's All-Stars and Leo DeRocher's All-Stars. He's a fast base runner, hit .412 in the Cuba in the winter of 1927. After he retired, he worked as a leather tanner. Late in life, he had severe health trouble with his circulation. Both of his legs were amputated. He had a stroke and lost the use of his left arm. Powell was born in 1903 in Utah, Alabama, and died in 1987 in Three Rivers, Michigan at age 83. For his career, he was 23-20 with an ERA of 3.25, 60 games, 44 starts, 28 complete games, 7 shutouts, a save, 368 innings pitched, 227 strikeouts. Powell batted .203 in his career with 28 hits. He scored 12 runs, had 3 doubles, a triple, 12 RBIs, 10 walks in 61 games. Willie Powell. Tom Glover was 0-1. They called him Lefty. He had an ERA of 19.29, 1 game, which was a start, 2 1/3 innings pitched, and 2 strikeouts. As a hitter, he batted 1,000 with 1 hit and 1 at-bat, had an RBI in 2 games. Glover played for the Cleveland Red Sox, Birmingham Black Barons, New Orleans Black Pelicans, Washington Elite Giants, Baltimore Elite Giants, in the Mexican League for Santa Rosa and Nuevo Laredo between 1934 and 1945. In 1945, he was a starting pitcher for the East-West All-Star Game. He also played for Monterrey in the Mexican League. So he was a rookie in 1934. Glover was born in 1912 and died in 1948 in Baltimore, Maryland at age 36. For his career, he was 17-21 with an ERA of 5.00, 69 games, 42 starts, 16 complete games, 1 save, 318 1/3 innings pitched, and 193 strikeouts. Glover for his career batted .165 with 19 hits. He scored 6 runs, had 2 doubles, 8 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, 7 walks in 70 games. Tom Glover. And finally, Roy Roberts was 1-2 with an ERA of 6.15, 9 games, 3 starts, a complete game, 41 innings pitched, and 13 strikeouts. He batted .211 with 4 hits. He scored 3 runs, had an RBI in 10 games. Roberts played for the Cleveland Giants in 1933 and the Cleveland Red Sox in 1934, and this was the end of his Negro League career. Roberts was born in 1894 in Florida and died in 1964 in New York at age 69. For his career, he was 37-53 with an ERA of 4.53, 128 games, 96 starts, 58 complete games, a save, 791 innings pitched, and 387 strikeouts. For his career, he batted .185 with 58 hits. He scored 35 runs, had 3 doubles, 4 triples, 16 RBIs, a stolen base, and 14 walks in 137 games. Roy Roberts. Now, after the regular season, the Negro League Championship Series was played, and the Philadelphia Stars defeated the Chicago American Giants 4-3 in an 8-game series. They won 4, lost 3, and there was a tie. Chicago had won the first half of the season title, and the Philadelphia the second half of the season title, and that's why they played each other in the championship series. The top hitter for the Negro Leagues in 1934 was Turkey Stearns of the Chicago American Giants. And the top pitcher was Slim Jones of the Philadelphia Stars. Tragically, Jones developed alcoholism and froze to death on a Philadelphia street in 1939 at age 25. Tragic. God bless Slim Jones. So that's the story of the 1934 Cleveland Red Sox. They had a tough year, but they were our team. They were our guys. They had Cleveland on their jersey. God bless the fellows who played for the Cleveland Red Sox in 1934 and everyone else associated with the team, including the fans, especially the Civil War veterans, Spanish-American War veterans, and First World War veterans. Captains of the Cuyahoga, lovers of Lake Erie, Terminal Tower Power, fans of the Free Stamp Statue and the Fountain of Eternal Life, Euclid Avenue Electricity, Severance Hall Stalwarts, Cleveland Museum of Art enthusiasts, Christmas Story House happy people, First Energy Stadium friends, Progressive Field pals, Quicken Loans Arena enthusiasts, Tribe, Browns, Cavs, Monsters, and Gladiators rule. Cleveland, City of Champions. Cleveland is the best location in the nation on the north coast of America. New York is the Big Apple. Cleveland is a plum. Before you know it, it'll be opening day 2019. This is our year. Go Tribe. Thank you so much for watching. You might consider checking out our website, Adventures in History with Peter J. Ray at peterjray.com. Thanks again for watching. I really appreciate it. God bless you. Take care, and I'll see you next time.